updates. We are going to wait a few moments here and just wait for a couple of folks to be joining in. I know we have our push alerts going out. It already came out actually on your First Alert weather app, but it's going to continue to come out on our TV5 News app. So we are going to wait for folks to kind of join in here because I don't want you to miss out on the important info because it's already been a busy week. It's kind of been hard for us to stay on top of everything considering we've had some snow and just trying to go and do our morning commutes, and then the weekend when you probably have some plans, having another system come in. So we are going to, of course, like I said, wait a few moments here for folks to be joining us. Just know that you, of course, can get the latest information not only here during our updates, but on the First Alert weather app. I'm actually going to, once we're done here, make sure that that app is updated for you. So make sure that you're staying connected with the First Alert weather team here throughout the weekend. Now, we've been on here for about an hour or so, so let's just dive into the data. You've probably heard by now that Saturday and Sunday are First Alert weather days. We have calm and quiet conditions here for our Friday, your Valentine's Day. I thank you for taking some time out of your plans for the holiday to get the latest information on what you can expect here for the weekend. But going into Saturday and Sunday, we have the First Alert weather days, and we are going to be tracking accumulating snowfall. So this is going to cause your roadways to be a little bit slippery, and I do anticipate slow travel. You probably will not be going posted speeds on the highway at times, though road crews, they are going to continue to work throughout this time. We have more information on them at WNEM.com, where a lot of you are already watching and tuning in with us. But this is also going to be a multi-day event, and I know you're saying, yeah, Diane, I know it's 2 days, but I just want to remind you that it's going to be continual snow here that we go through the weekend, so it'll take time for those snow totals to add up, but we will find that we do have a couple of breaks, maybe a lull or two that is going to be coming through, so it could be a moment where the snow just isn't quite coming down. Where are we looking at the storm? Well, we actually have two portions of the storm that's going to be coming in. We currently have the snowfall that comes in tonight. We're finding that through Wisconsin and into Illinois. This is going to start to move in here tonight around midnight, shortly thereafter. So you'll want to be to your destinations by then. But for now, your evening plans, whether you're at a basketball game, quick checking in, you're finding that our snowfall will not be here. So it'll be pretty easy to get to our destinations tonight. This is the first wave of energy. We have another wave that's going to develop and come in on Sunday. So let's go into the hour-by-hour forecast, where you will find here that we have no issues getting around town, getting around mid-Michigan tonight. By midnight, you can see that we start to have some of that blue that comes in for us, and it will have yet some drier air, so evaporation of some of our snow showers are going to be possible. So if you see blue on radar, just know that there could be some drier and it's evaporating before it makes the ground. But once we get around 4 or 5 o'clock, we see better moisture to be available at that point. But shortly thereafter, we do reach a little bit of a lull as the system starts to push through. So that is going to be as we go into Saturday morning. But it doesn't take long. Mid-morning, we're right back seeing bands of snow coming in. We will find widespread snowfall at times. So this is just going to be a weekend where we're watching radar all during the time frame. Now, this storm system, though we are finding that we have just snow here in mid-Michigan, you don't have to travel far, and we start to see a wintry mix and some rainfall associated with it. So that pink, you can just see it hinting there at the bottom of your screen. You're going to find that that freezing drizzle potential should stay out of mid-Michigan, but it's not going to be very far. We're talking that it'll be closer towards M59, so the Heartland area. And then if that does shift a little bit further north, it's a little too close then to mid-Michigan. So we will want to caution folks that are going to be traveling along I-69 over the weekend, especially Saturday, that you may run into some of that freezing drizzle trying to cut in. But for now, it looks like we should stay with just snowfall. As we go from Saturday evening and then towards Sunday morning, this is when we're going to be having a shift in our energy. So we have the energy that comes in tonight carrying us through Saturday, but then we have just a little bit of a lull, or it becomes a little bit lighter for us. And then we do start to see that it tries to pick back up as we go into Sunday. So we are going to just continue on with the snowfall, but that does mean that we're now switching to our next system, the one that's going to be coming in. The center of that storm actually stays in Ohio, but with us being on the northern side, we are going to be staying, thankfully, snowy on Sunday, but this is where it's going to kind of add up a few more of those accumulations. You can still see that we're tracking snow going into Sunday afternoon. We're not seeing yet the backside of the storm, but at least we're getting close to it. Now, our snowfall rates, you are going to find that those are going to be sitting a little bit higher at times throughout the day. And actually, this doesn't look like it got completely updated here. So running some of the latest data, you will see that we do have kind of a slow start into the morning, and then it picks up around 9-10 o'clock Saturday morning, and then we still are picking up on that snow, but it looks like about a ½ inch at times. So that's easy enough for road crews to keep up with those conditions. We will find it does become a little bit later towards dinner time frame. So if you have Saturday night plans, you still can go out there, but you may just want to be a little more cautious as roadways can still be slippery at times. So I do want to, though, also take a look at our snowfall map. This one's been very tricky because I had mentioned we have those 2 rounds of energy and also some dry air. Those 2 features are in the driver's seat of this forecast, so that has made this map very tricky. I will be completely honest, we have seen data populating numbers higher than our map. We are going to stay on the conservative side with this one just because we do have those 2 elements that kind of can make or break a forecast. So we still may need to make some adjustments to our snowfall map. We are going to have our teams working here throughout the weekend to give you the latest information. But we are going to find around Houghton Lake in towards Gladwin, Clare, Mount Pleasant, Alma, even Chesaning, Owasso, our 5 to 9 zone. This is going to be in our blue that's going to be stretching through the western half of mid-Michigan. Now coming in along 75, coming into the Tri-Cities, but also including Ogama and Iosco counties, and then into the Thumb, and then along Genesee and Lapeer counties is where we have our 6 to 10 zone. So that's going to be all of the purple shading that we have here. But also, like the last couple of systems, we still have the potential for some lake enhancement. So the lake is definitely going to play with this forecast. If you are in our lakeshore communities, you could be finding some higher totals, once again, higher than even what we have at our max of our range. So those would just be kind of some local spots where we see some numbers that are just a little bit higher. So keep that in mind if you're in eastern Sanilac County, eastern Huron County, and then right there along the shoreline towards Tawas, Oscoda. So we could find some higher totals there. Now, also, if you go outside Saturday night and measure and say, Diane, I didn't get enough snow compared to what you forecasted, have some patience, because this is going to include not only what we pick up Saturday, but also Sunday. So we're going to take those 2 days and combine them, and that's where we're going to come up with this range here. Now, again, there could be some changes. If this system holds together pretty decently going into Sunday, we may need to make some adjustments, getting a little bit on the larger side. But for now, we are, again, going to remain on the more conservative side. So I know you're on social media, you're seeing a lot of maps. Just know that we, again, are a little more on that conservative side. We'd rather start you all on the small side than get you too excited about that snowfall. But also think about this. If we get 5 to 9 or 6 to 10 inches, this is going to go from Saturday morning to Sunday night. So this is a long duration event. So that's going to be pretty easy for road crews to clean up. But we will also find that we have some windy weather for blowing and drifting snow on Sunday. So keep that in mind, especially in our kind of wide open rural communities that have some room for that wind to kind of blow that snow around. But again, I cannot stress this enough. This is going to be 2 days worth of snow coming in to get us to these totals. So mainly impacts, because we are just talking snowfall, is going to be, well, accumulating snow, but that of course stacking up on our roadways can kind of slow us down a little bit. So plan on occasionally at times that you could find that roads are a little bit better because we had a lull or the road crews just went by, and then maybe it's not so great in other portions, or it just starts to deteriorate at times. So you really just have to exercise caution through the weekend. With this being long duration, it's hard to say whether we're giving you the green light, the yellow light, or the red light, just because it's hard to know really how heavy that snow is going to be at times, but also how road crews are going to be tackling this event. But I know we've talked to Genesee and Saginaw County commissions for roadways, and they are saying, yep, we got our staff in place. We have plans for the weekend, and we're going to be working around the clock. So we thank the crews ahead of time for all the work that they're going to be doing to make sure that we can get around this weekend. Also, if you did use your snow blower this week, you are going to find that you might need a little more gas or a little more oil in your machine, so you'll want to keep that gassed up here as we go into our storm. And we will also find our winter weather alerts. Before we forget about those, you probably saw those push alerts coming into the app today. I actually saw them come in. It looks like they came in about 3:06. So see, if you have the app, you got all the info even before we were live doing TV5 News at 4. So what we are working with in the blue here, coming across the thumb, I-69 and into the Tri-Cities, is going to be our winter storm watch. So really what the difference is going between that advisory and the watch is going to be the amount of snow and then the duration. That's really kind of the difference here. A lot of our partners at the National Weather Service have said that if we do continue to see some trends of some higher snow totals, we may need to upgrade that watch to a warning. So we're right now kind of in that waiting pattern to see what watches, warnings, and alerts are going to be coming from the National Weather Service. So this means if you're in that watch that you just want to be preparing that you can have weather that's going to be impactful. So again, having gas for the snowblower, having your groceries done so you don't have to get out. If you don't have a reason to travel, just stay inside, watch a movie, watch TV5, enjoy just relaxing on a weekend. You will find though that we have our purple zone. This also means that your travel is still going to be just as tricky, but this advisory, this is where we could potentially find some of our snow totals to be a little bit on the lower end, but we are still going to be watching for some changing conditions here. So this, though, stretching from Gratiot County up through Roscommon County and then over towards Iosco. And that winter weather advisory is going to be active from Saturday morning going through Sunday evening, and it's going to be a very similar timeline for the watch, but we still anticipate you having some slower travel. Of course, if these snow totals and the duration changes, that can change some of these alerts that you start to see from the National Weather Service. So this is what we're going to be watching for as we go throughout our weekend. Now, I do want to also highlight kind of a difference of what we will be seeing coming into Saturday. So Saturday, we will be looking at kind of a lower, more tolerable range, but still enough of our snowfall that it is going to be troublesome on roadways. This is just a map for Friday night through Saturday evening. We're talking right around 7 o'clock. Then we are going to be looking at ranges of about 3 to 6 across the thumb, Tri-Cities towards 127 and north, and then along I-69 we have that 2 to 4 zone. We have that lighter zone there just because of that freezing rain potential that I was mentioning, or even that drizzle that can start to cut away as some of our snow totals stacking up. So again, this is only for Saturday. The entire system, looking at the map here, a little bit higher because we will be picking up some snowfall on Sunday. So again, we have that 5 to 9 zone. You're going to find that from Houghton Lake stretching along 127 and then down towards Shiawassee County. And then that's 5 to 9 zone does run into our 6 to 10 in the purple. That's going to be in our northern counties, Ogama, Iosco, Aranac, coming into towards eastern Gladwin County, including the Tri-Cities, including Flint as well, and then coming into the thumb. As we had mentioned before, higher totals to be likely along the shoreline, so those though would be a little bit more localized. I do want to run again through some of the timings that we will be having with our system here. And tonight, we are still going to find that your Valentine's Day plans are just fine, but we will want to have you towards your destinations for tonight by about midnight, because that's when we're going to start to see that snow moving in. Now, there may be some evaporation happening for the first couple of hours, but even as we go through, we start to get a little bit more saturated. So here we are at 4 o'clock. We should really start to have some of that snow pivoting through. However, it does create a little bit of a lull shortly afterwards, so that lull will be coming in before our sunrise tomorrow morning. Your sunrise will be at 7:34 a.m. So we'll keep an eye to that one. But we will find that we have widespread snow going into our Saturday mid-morning. And as mentioned, that freezing drizzle, it should stay out of mid-Michigan, but sometimes the weather wants to change the forecast up by only a few miles. And it's not a lot of miles if you're going to be, let's say, between Heartland to Fenton there in southern Genesee County. So we will find that that freezing rain, if you're going to be traveling further south, you will run into that icy mix. And also even closer towards the state line and into Indiana and Ohio, they are going to be looking at some rainfall within this storm. So we are going to be on the frozen precipitation side, with many of us just looking at snowfall. As the energy switches between our wave and kind of going to our low pressure system on Sunday, we will have a little bit of a lull Saturday evening. Now, the exact timing of that transition of energy is going to be tricky. So that's really going to depend on the coverage of what you see on radar. And then as we go into Sunday morning, we're still picking up on this storm. This storm is going to be located in Ohio, but we're going to be north enough to where we still see snowfall from it. And that's going to continue to kind of show us a little bit more of a break, or hopefully some lighter snow rates as we go into Sunday, but it will definitely be a higher chance that we continue to see that snow going into Sunday afternoon. Now, the storm itself, you are going to find that currently positioned towards our west. We're seeing that into Wisconsin and Illinois. So that is going to be headed in our direction. So like I mentioned, if you're traveling for holiday or Valentine's Day weekend, make sure you are to your destinations by midnight this evening. That's going to be a pretty helpful tool. Now, we are going to make sure to have you with consistent updates on the First Alert weather app as we go throughout the weekend. So make sure you have that on your phone. That's going to be a great way to also keep an eye to radar. You're going to want to watch radar here through the weekend to see where we have some heavy snow. And also if you're maybe in a little bit of a lull, if you peek outside and you don't have those snowflakes coming down. So as we wrap up here, I'm going to leave you with another look at our snowfall map because I know that this is always what everybody wants to see. We are going to find our 5 to 9 zone and our 6 to 10 zone. In the blue is our 5 to 9 and the purple is our 6 to 10. And we may need to make some adjustments on not only the amounts, but where that blue and that purple come together. So if you're kind of on that line, make sure you are checking in and tuning in tomorrow morning for TV5 Wake Up. That's going to be at 7 a.m. here. Of course, we'll be streaming that. We'll also have that over the air on WNEM TV5. And also do not want to forget that some of those locally higher totals will be possible in our lakeshore communities. So keep that in mind. Also, these numbers are going to take what we have Saturday and Sunday, put them together. So if you don't have the measurements quite yet Saturday evening, give it time. We'll still have a little more snowfall that is going to be coming in for Sunday. Now, we will have our camera come back out to myself just to remind you that we do have our First Alert weather app for updates. We'll also have another update coming up tonight at 11 o'clock here on TV5, and also tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. we will have the morning data coming into your forecast. But for the evening, have a good time, have a great Valentine's Day, but make sure you are ready for that snowfall to come in for the weekend.
Experience the best wash in town at Tommy's Express. You'll love our open and bright tunnels, easy loading flat belt conveyor, unlimited membership, and free vacuums and mat washers. Experience the difference and visit Tommy's Express today.